Hello, I'm Pastor Matthew Verhoek from the Valley Alliance Church, and today we're looking at Luke chapter 12, verses 4 and 5. I tell you, my friends, do not fear those who kill the body, and after that have nothing more that they can do. But I warn you whom to fear. Fear him who, after he is killed, has authority to cast into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. When I was a much younger man, Joe Rogan didn't have a podcast. He was a host of a show called Fear Factor, which the contestants would have to eat gross things and get into scary scenarios in order to win money. There was usually a pretty girl in swimsuits. I'm not sure why that was necessary. But in this text, Jesus teaches us about the real fear factor. Don't worry about someone who can merely kill you. Don't worry about someone who can just chop off your head or hang you or shoot you, because there are far worse things that await those who reject God, namely hell or Gehenna, the lake of fire. Now, Jesus here isn't saying that death is some sort of cakewalk. What he's saying that in comparison to God's judgment, you might consider it to be. Jesus' point is we often spend our lives trying to avoid pain. But the pain we should avoid, that we should seek to avoid the most, is God's judgment. When Jesus tells us to fear God, I mean, this isn't the, I respect God kind of fear, but this is the knees quaking, run for your life kind of fear. It reminds me of when I was about 10 years old. I was afraid of the dark. After all, you never know when a wolf or a space alien is going to grab you. And our barn, our dairy barn, was about a quarter mile from our house. And occasionally I would have to walk from the barn to my house by myself after doing chores. And so what I would do is I'd take a step, and then a second step, and then I started thinking about wolves or aliens, and then I decided I would just book it, and I just ran as fast as I could, and then finally I get to the house, open the door, step inside into the light, and in that moment feel completely safe and secure. The fear that Jesus talks about is like that. It's not a fear that we're supposed to live in, but a fear that causes us to move. When we properly fear the judgment of God, we run like I did through the dark, and we keep running until that moment when we come into our Father's house, and then feeling the light and safety there, all other fears flee away. Jesus in this text gives us the key for living a life free from fear. And that is that the worst that COVID can do is kill you. The worst that an oppressive government can do is kill you. And it's not all that bad for those that follow God, because death is just a doorway into a life more full and bright than we could ever experience here. Because fearing God frees us from fear.